Thank you guys so much for coming out this afternoon. Because we've got some time constraints with the Stars game starting later this afternoon, I'm not going to have everybody do an opening comment, but I am going to have Coach and Mark address with some initial comments to start us off, and then we'll open it up to questions. Scott and Alan have roving mics, so when you want to ask a question, please raise your hand and they'll deliver the mics to you. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Coach first, and then Mark. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we're very excited to have these guys here. This is a huge deal. It's a blockbuster trade. 7-player trade is a big deal. We're excited about today, and we're very excited about the future. All these guys are guys that are proven players. We're fans of all of them. And just want to welcome them. And Mark, you can go ahead.
Thanks, I guess. First, I want to thank Dennis and Wes and DJ for their efforts and what they were able to contribute here. Doing a trade is never easy. There's basketball considerations, and we always talk about how this is just a business, but it's really not just a business. It's very personal. It upends families, and so we want to thank the players that played. Thank Dennis and DeAndre and Wes, as I said, and we also recognize it's a big change for players coming in. There's a lot of adjustments. It's, in some respects, you're transferred to some place you didn't ask to be transferred to, but we're excited. We think this is the start of a really strong way forward for us. All 4 guys are going to be significant contributors, and we're ready to go to work against Charlotte. So it's going to be some exciting time. So thanks for everybody for coming out. Welcome to Tim and Trey and Courtney and KP and everybody here and their families and their friends and their soon-to-be friends and anybody else we can think of. So thank you.
We'll open it for questions. Dwayne.
Yeah, Dwayne Price, Maths.com. KP, could you tell us about your relationship with Luka? How you think you guys will be able to play together?
How you doing, guys? Yeah, we have a great relationship. I think for the first time we met maybe when when we were both playing still in Spain. I remember he was, a few years younger than me, and we just know each other from playing against each other for a long time, and now that I have the opportunity to play with him, I'm really excited about it.
He's always in a New York.
Oh, man. Really?
Mark Berman, New York Post. Hi, Chris. Did you ask to be traded? And if so, why did you want a fresh start?
And KP, this is Dallas. You can say, nah, we're not going to answer that.
Boo. Why did you feel that you needed a fresh start and wanted out of New York?
How you doing, Mark? Good to see you. Right now, the situation is what it is. I would rather just focus on what's ahead of me than, looking back and there might be a time when I go into more detail about that situation, but right now I just want to focus on my new team, on the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah. One question per customer.
Yeah. Next.
Moving on.
Next. Go ahead, Brad.
What was your initial reaction to the trade, and what are your first impressions of the organization in Dallas?
I was surprised. It was something unexpected, and my first impressions are great. It's been great 48 hours here. Everybody has welcomed me with open arms, and I'm excited to be a part of this organization.
Tim McMahon, ESPN. Kristaps, where are you in terms of your rehab from your knee? And Mark has told us that the plan at this point is that you probably don't play this season. What are your thoughts on that?
Correct. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm doing well. I'm doing really well. My legs, feeling great. As I said, I was talking to the guys and to the coaching staff and to Mark today, and that I'm excited to get back on the court as soon as possible. I'm still trying to be patient and doing all the little things right. But I'm excited because I feel great. I feel bouncy, and I'm ready to get back on the court.
Kristaps, Pedro Silva here, Univision Dallas. I'm actually going to ask the question in Spanish. ¿Cuáles son tus expectativas con el equipo esta temporada y qué tan rápido crees que vas a poder jugar con los Mavericks?
Sí, la verdad, bueno, expectativas, la situación es como es ahora en este momento, ¿no? Tenemos muchos jugadores jóvenes, yo creo que tenemos una plantilla que podemos tener, con la que podemos tener mucho éxito en el futuro. Así que tenemos que seguir trabajando y bueno, ir a hacer un gran trabajo en verano y ya el año que viene estaremos listos.
Can somebody translate for those of us who only speak one language?
There was a game in 2017 where you had 34 points and Luka had I think 29 in a game where he won. What do you remember about that game playing against him, and just what are your impressions of him in general?
That first thing that comes to mind is that three that he hit. It was like a almost half-court shot off the board. It was a crazy shot, like late in the game, and that one hurt. That one, we were making a comeback, and he had a great tournament. They won the whole tournament, and Luka being 18, 19 years old, doing all that, it was unbelievable to witness that. But I wish we won that game and left them where in the quarters. But it was a great tournament. It was great to compete against them and just to see him live and play against him.
Tim Cato, The Athletic. Kristaps, another Luka question. What do you see as the future for you and him? Obviously, there's contract things that need to get worked out on your side, but if you are in Dallas for a long time, what do you see as the future of you and Luka together?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The future of you and Luka together, how you're going to play together.
Yeah.
How do you see that? What do you envision that could be?
No, I believe if we do play together long term, we would, right away we clicked from the beginning. We're both European players. We both went through the same similar route. Just we both speak Spanish. There's so many things that it's just like we clicked right away, and I think that's going to translate on the court also. So I'm excited about the opportunity to play with him.
Newey Scruggs, NBC5 Dallas. Donnie, can you reflect on the past 7 months between getting Luka and then making this deal here in Kristaps? Do you plan on signing a contract with the Mavericks this summer, restricted or long term?
That's a question to me? Yeah. Well,
I can answer that for you. Yeah, he does.
There you go.
Kristaps, is that true?
I can answer that one too.
Listen, we're on the same page. Don't even ask. We're on the same page.
Long term or restricted, Mark? Which one?
Oh, long term for sure. Our goal is to keep these two together for the next 20 years.
All right, Tim, your father played here, and that's pretty ironic that, now that you're playing here and you watched him play here, what do you think about that?
It's crazy. Once the trade went down, I was pretty excited. Just looking on social media and just looking at the pictures and just looking back at it. Great situation, great opportunity for myself and for my family, and happy to be here.
Kristaps, Bryce Patrick, Mavs Moneyball. You talked about wanting to get to know the organization. What kind of steps do you take to get to know the organization and feel your way out better if you want to stay here long term, and what you like and what you need to do to fit in here?
What are the things I'm looking for?
Yeah, how do you kind of get acclimated to the team?
Yeah. Well, I think it's good. Every relationship takes time. To build a relationship, and so far so good. It's been 2 days here, and as I said, they've welcomed me with open arms, and they making everything as easy as possible for me to just be able to focus on basketball and my rehab and coming back strong and being at my best. So that's what you're looking for in an organization.
Chris, could you also talk about your relationship with Dirk? You've been knowing him for a few years now, and could you talk about that relationship and how over the years people have compared you to him and how you feel about that?
Yeah, well, Dirk is a guy that I looked up to growing up, and I hope we have a lot of time to spend together now that I'm here in Dallas and while he's still playing. So I'll try to use every moment that I can to bother him with some questions and some good stories that he has. And I mean, it's a great opportunity for me, so I'm excited.
Coach Carlisle, Shirley Walker King with Real Talk Sports. Just wanted to know from a coaching standpoint, has the wheels started turning about how you're going to implement these new players into the strategy for the Mavs with such a large trade coming in and, moving pieces?
Well, we're fortunate that we have a 3-day break between games. We were able to get these guys in the gym yesterday for an introductory session. We had another teaching session before practice today. And then we had a live practice, which is great, and it was great. It was a terrific day. And tomorrow we have another opportunity. We'll grab these guys early again, and then we'll do a lift, a team lift. Then we'll have another practice and taper down a little bit, and get ready for the Charlotte game. But it's an exciting time. Kristaps and I have talked a lot in a short period of time about how I see him being integrated into what we do. We have a lot of experience with players of his body type and his skill set because of Dirk being here for 11 years so far with me, and so it's the possibilities are very exciting. And these other guys, as I mentioned in the intro, are all proven vets. They're all terrific players. They bring energy, they bring competitiveness to the situation, which is something that we always love here. And one other thing I want to mention, Kristaps' brother Giannis is here, who represents him, and I just want to recognize him because he and I spent a couple hours talking last night, just getting to know each other, and he's a very important part of Kristaps' team, along with Dan, who does PR with him. Baldi, his what do you call him, therapist? Yeah, therapist, who's going to be involved. And we want to make sure that we recognize these guys as being part of his team and in a way our team too now. And
Get Stu for Trey. You got to mention Stu.
Stu. What's up, Stu? I didn't meet Stu yet. How are you? Trey, you got a guy, huh? That's great. I wish I had a guy. But anyway, I mean, yeah, and so, next September seems like a long way away, but time's flying. In today's world of social media and things go a zillion miles an hour, we're going to blink and it's going to be Media Day in September of 2019, and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, Eddie Sefko, Mavs.com.
Are you sure?
I'm Courtney and Trey and Tim. I'm curious. This organization obviously has at least one eye on the future going forward with this trade. But what do you feel like is necessary to accomplish in the next 30 games?
Just to come out and just, like you said, do what we've been doing in our careers, is go out there and compete and help the team as much as possible. And then when you talk about the future's in the future. Right now is the present, and so our job is to go out there and lead by example, practice hard, and help develop these guys for the future.
You have a hope that there's a playoff run in this team?
100%. Yeah, that's the goal. I believe that's why we're
No
here.
doubt.
To go out there and compete and push for the playoffs and win big.
Mike Leslie, WFA. Donnie, for you, this last 8 months or so with the two trades that you've orchestrated, certainly your fingerprints all over both of them. What has this been like, and what do you see for the future with these two stalwart pieces of your organization now?
It's been a homecoming of sorts. The Hardaway family I know well from Golden State. My kids were born about the same time Tim Jr. was born, and so the Porzingis family I've kind of known from afar. As you guys know, I've been involved with Lithuanian basketball for 4 Olympiads, and Lithuania and Latvia are as close as it gets. They're two Baltic sisters in a lot of respects. The other two gentlemen are first class and winners in every sense of the word. And I think what we have is four really class individuals that are going to represent this city proud.
Specifically, Luka and Kristaps, the two of them kind of combining force. What do you see for the future with them?
I see two guys that are going to put their own signature on their positions. I mean, I didn't think when we drafted Dirk he was Larry Bird, and I don't think this young man to my left is Dirk. He's going to put his own signature and have his own identity, and he's going to transform a couple of positions, and I think that's already happening in front of our very eyes with Luka. This is one of the most exciting times I think that I've ever been a part of, in having potentially two young players of their caliber for our fans to watch improve game by game. And obviously we've got the best in the business, and Rick Carlisle that will make sure they maximize their potential.
Hey Trey, I know that 2013 and North Texas holds some pretty special memories for you from a basketball standpoint. I was just curious what your thoughts were when you heard about the trade that you would be coming here last week, and what your hopes and expectations are for the remainder of the season here.
Yeah, it kind of caught me a little off guard. I was coming home from practice, and my agent called me. And when I heard about it, I was excited, very excited. I had never gotten traded during the season, so it was new to me. My 2 days here, everyone has embraced me with open arms. So going forward, like Courtney said, just right now we're taking it day by day. It's a lot being thrown at us right now, but I think we're doing a pretty good job of picking it up, and for the future, like these guys said, playoffs I think is our #1 goal right now, and it's just good to be in a winning culture, a part of a championship pedigree type organization, and I'm very excited to be here.
Kristaps, could you elaborate on the decision not to play this year? What factors have gone into that? How close are you actually to being able to get back on the court and play 5-on-5 basketball? And do you have concerns about basically going 20 months between playing NBA games?
That was the plan from the beginning, and we're sticking to the plan. And 20 months of not playing, obviously, I expect there to be some rust or whatever, but I'm a guy that visualizes a lot, how I play and watches a lot of film. So hopefully I'll be quick to back in my rhythm and feel the game again.
Mark, you've been through a lot to rebuild this franchise. Do you feel like this move and getting Luka, you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel and you've rebuilt the championship team again?
It sure beats the train that was coming our way the last 2 years. Certainly, we're very excited. I think with all the guys up here and what everybody on our roster, we think it's a foundation. We've gotten younger. I think we've got more athletic. And so I think we're well positioned, but we got to go out and play the games, and we've got to get KP healthy and pull all those pieces together. But yeah, I certainly have a different feel about everything than it was 18 months ago and 24 months ago.
Jerry Fraley, Dallas Morning News. I'd appreciate it if either Tim or Courtney or Trey would take this. Did the losing in New York weigh upon you? And if so, do you view this as a new beginning in a sense, even though you were all veterans?
No, we kind of understood that in New York, Coach Fizz, he was building a foundation and he was building an identity for the team, but at the same time, he wanted us to be competitive and win as many ball games as possible. And I think as veterans, we were doing a great job of that, and coming to work each and every day, playing hard, teaching the young guys, and just trying to make their lives a lot easier. So I think the losing didn't weigh on us. It just made us a little bit more strong-minded and persevere a little bit better, more. And yeah, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. We're moving forward now, and we're happy to be here.
Just a question for Chris and Tim. You were going to be reevaluated in mid-February, but you said the plan was you would probably not play the season, so the evaluation was just to see where your leg was? I mean, there was no plan to possibly go back to practice?
We'll see. We'll evaluate in mid-February.
Yeah, we're working all that together. We're putting all that together right now. So whatever the plan was in the previous organization really isn't relevant at this point in time. You know, we have our doctors. We're working with his team, and right now the plan, the 100% plan, is for him not to play. And so there's not, you know, what was in place prior really isn't relevant at this point in time.
And just Tim, I mean, obviously you signed, you know, as a free agent with the Knicks. I mean, how disappointing is it that, you know, you didn't get a chance to spend more time here? It's the second time you've left the organization. I mean, just what's your thoughts on leaving New York?
I didn't leave New York. They traded me. Let's get that out the way. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business, and what's done is done. Like I said, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be with my guys. It's a new challenge for me, a new opportunity for myself and these guys as well, and we're ready to take advantage of it.
Here in the back, KP, this question's for you. You said you like to visualize. How do you visualize yourself playing with Luka and in Rick's offensive system?
I get excited every time I think about it. You know, I really think we can be something special. You know, it's I think about basketball 24/7, and I really see us being very special on the court and fun to watch. So I'm excited about it.
Because I know you enjoy doing that. In terms
Chris,
of
this is another guy you can just ignore.
I understand the plans for you not to play this year. Are you open to the possibility of practicing with the team?
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be a part of my rehab. You know, at some point you have to start playing 2-on-2, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 5-on-5. So, as Mark said, you know, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna evaluate the whole situation and make a plan for my rehab.
Physically, do you feel like you were close to being at that stage?
I feel great. But yeah, as I said, we're taking our time. There's no rush. I've been patient this whole time, and I'm gonna keep staying patient, which is one of the hardest things for me to do. But that's still, we're gonna make the right decisions.
Donnie, I'm curious. Everybody up here has kind of said that this thing caught him by surprise. How did this thing come together, or did it come together as quickly as it appeared?
Yeah, I mean, every deal, there's snowflakes, and some deals take years, and some, move quickly. This one moved quickly.
Tim, this is a question for you. Mike Peasley, 103.3 FM ESPN. You just played against Luka last week. Curious to think your thoughts of his overall game, and how do you think his skill set can complement your game?
I think him playing overseas gave him a head start. So everything is slowed down for him as a ball player, and he's great. You gotta give the kid credit. He goes out there, competes, works his tail off, and shoot the heck out of the ball, drive, get his teammates involved, and not only makes the game for himself easier, but makes the game easier for his teammates. And he's leading by example right now. So, like I said, you got to give him credit.
We saw back in July at Luka's introductory press conference, a number of his now teammates came to his press conference. Here he is back here in the back for every minute of your introductory press conference. What's it mean to you to just have him want to be here, support you, and kind of start off that relationship or continue that relationship?
No, it's great that he's here, Obviously, he knows a lot of the talk is going to be about him also, so he wants to hear what you guys talking about him. But it's great that, he's here, he's supporting his teammates, and, and we're excited to be his new teammates. That's correct, right? It's it's a good vibe. So we're happy to be here.
Kristaps, I was talking to J.J. Barea earlier, and he said you guys had dinner, and you were asking a lot of questions about the 2011 title run. What are your memories of that? And obviously you were a big Dirk fan already. And did that shape your opinion and your viewpoint about this organization?
Yeah, we had a great conversation. As he said, I was asking him a lot of questions, and I just remember that time really well because it was, when LeBron went to Miami, and it seemed like the whole world was against that Miami team, and everybody wanted Dallas to win, and I was already a big Dirk fan, and so I was extremely happy for that Dallas Mavericks 2011 team, and I was just curious. how the series went, and just there's a lot of good stories that those guys can tell about those times. So I'm excited to get to know them better and ask even more of those questions.
Rick, you talked a lot about liking to have 2 point guards on the floor when Dennis and Luka were starting together. What is your offense going to look like now with just 1 point guard starting with Luka out there?
Well, one thing that I talked to the entire team about today is that we're going to have complete lineup flexibility going forward. We could start a different team every night. And so you're going to see different things going on. You'll see some nights where we'll start smaller guys. Some nights we start bigger. A lot of it will be matchup driven. But during this period where we have some new guys and we got to continue to learn about the guys that we have, we've got to be open-minded about experimenting while still making every full effort to win. I mean, we're rebuilding a championship team here, and that's obviously a lot about what this deal's all about.
This question is for Tim, Courtney, and Trey. I spoke to you guys before about Dirk, and you guys all had high praise for him. And now you guys have an opportunity to actually play with someone that you obviously probably grew up watching. Can you talk about that and how that works for you guys as well?
Yeah, it's great. Having a guy like Dirk, being able to pick his brain, a guy who, has won a championship in this league. That's all you can ask for as a player, especially as a guy new coming into an organization like this. I think we all appreciate it, and it's just at this point kind of just soaking up everything that he pretty much tells us. Seeing how he leads, seeing asking him questions about his work ethic and things like that. Like I said, we've only been here 2 days, and I have probably hundreds of questions to ask him just to help me in my, my journey and in my process, and I'm sure they do as well.
Courtney, how do you, this question for Courtney and also for you, Mr. Burke, how do you see yourself fitting into this team, and what do you think your role is going to be?
Roles come from speaking with the coach and just knowing your game personally and just going out there and just trying to make winning plays and do everything within yourself that you're normally doing. Like, I'm not going to go out there and just try to do a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not accustomed to doing, but just anything it takes to win and to help the team get better going forward. So.
Same, same what Courtney said. I'm sure, these guys know my strengths, things that I can continue to get better at. So at this point, just going out there and, being the confident player that we all have been throughout our careers, and helping this team get to where we're trying to get to. We all have one goal in mind. And that right now that goal is to make it to the playoffs, but, we all know that we're taking one game at a time. And I think it starts with confidence with all of us. Just going out there, it's a new situation, but being confident in your role.
Take a couple more.
Tim Cato, The Athletic. Donnie, my understanding is you were actually in New York. Obviously, this is a business mostly conducted over the phone. How unusual of a situation was it that you were in New York and able to my understanding, at least talk about, if not, finalize the trade in person?
It was great. I mean, Scott is a longtime friend, and so is Steve, and to get a little FaceTime was great. You're right. It's not usually the way that things get consummated, but it was great to see those guys.
Mark, Rick said that this is kind of a taller version of Nash and a bigger, taller version of Nash and Dirk in a way. You've made your thoughts about Nash pretty clear to us in the past. Just how do you see this as kind of like a do-over, or I mean, just another.
I think the analogy comes from the fact that they're both so young. When Dirk and Steve, when I first got here, they were 20 and 22 or 23, and Luka is about to turn 20, and Chris is 23, and so the real comparison comes from the fact that we'll be able to keep them together, an awful long time, and they'll be able to grow together and help each other learn. I think that was one of the hallmarks of Steve and Dirk. They pushed each other, and they made each other better on the court and off the court. And they also set the culture for the organization. I mean, look today, the way Dirk treats fans and supports the community, and Steve did while he was here and in his career afterwards. That's important because that helps define culture. And I think Luka and Chris and all the guys here are going to be that way. I think, players today are different because they've grown up more, particularly the youngest players have grown up more with social media, and they understand that everything they say and do is reflected in social media. And so I think, it'll even be a stronger connection that hopefully will make us stronger for decades to come.
Thank you very much. That concludes our press conference. We're going to do some photo ops with the jerseys, though, so you guys stay put and hold the jerseys up.
Thank you so much for coming.
Now it's not.